Hi everybody, it's Philip Cortez and welcome back to the channel in video number 2. And the first question I want to ask is how's it going? Right? I mean, if we were in a conversation right now and I ran into you, normally, we kind of do this from time to time and we just say, hey, how's it going? Just a common question that we always ask each other. But think about what the answer is, right? I mean, the common answer to that question is good. And it's funny because when I walk into classrooms, I always ask the students, and it doesn't matter if they're 5 years old, it doesn't matter if they're 55-year-olds, how's everybody doing? I look around and 99.9% of the time, the default, I don't even have to think about it answer is good. So let's focus on the word good. And it's actually talking about the very first rule of happiness, which is to always be better than good. That is the first rule of happiness according to the Happy Manifesto, 3 rules for happier students. So always being better than good, what we do in these environments, or what I do in these environments when I'm talking to these students or these parents or these teachers, is we break down the word good. And if we were to give the word good a grade, then it's definitely not gonna be awesome. It's not gonna be outstanding or an A+. But it's not gonna be failure either. It's not gonna be horrible or horrendous or terrible. And the kids like making up words, right? So when I ask them, what grade would you give that word? And people raise their hands. And a lot of them are very optimistic. They said, I give it an A, Mr. Cortez. And it's like, oh, wow, God, I wish you were my teacher. But the majority of students agree that if we were to give the word good a grade, it would be a C, it would be average, right in the middle. The irony there, and the reason why I start these presentations with that simple question is because I want them to understand that when I look at them, each and every single one of those little faces, I see better than good. I see amazing. I see unique. Okay, I see above average. And so that first rule of happiness is really the table setter. I mean, we have to set the table before we eat, right? So it's that table setter rule that establishes everything in our path, in our wake. Always be better than good, but in everything that we do, okay? And so it's a lesson that we can apply for students as well in today's times. I mean, the book was written a few years back before the pandemic, but the cool thing about it and what other teachers are telling me and how they're instilling it, they're implementing it into their lesson plans. They're basing activities off of better than good. But we can apply it to today's world. And I'll give you a really good example. So on the way to school, I get to drop off my kids on the way to school. And today I asked them, because I'm always seeing them with their head down. They're always looking at a screen. They're always kind of flipping through on social media and all of that. And I asked them, Zoe, 10 years old, who do you look up to online? Like, who do you follow? Who's the one social media account that you really like to see, whether they dance well or they're funny, or they wear cool stuff, or whatever it is. Who is it? And she's like, it's Charli D'Amelio, Daddy. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna pretend I know who that is. Well, of course I've heard who that is. And I said, well, why? Because she's funny and she's honest. And I said, okay, that's good. And so I asked Ava, okay, 7th grader, who do you look at on social media? And she agreed. She did the same. She just kind of was like, whatever, Dad. And that's okay. And I think we can apply that first rule of happiness, being better than good, to our online selves as well. I mean, when we follow some of these kids, I make it a point to tell my kids, and then of course other kids, as we're talking about things like social media when I go and visit their classrooms, is to remember, okay, always remember that we should never compare ourselves to those people who are creating content online. Personally, I like to follow fitness gurus. I like to learn new workouts. I like to try new ways of exercising in the gym. And I pick up tidbits here and there, but I'm never gonna be that 25-year-old guy. That guy's gone. Okay, at this stage in the game, I'm not 25, far from it now. And I can't keep chasing that guy on a screen, that 25-year-old guy on a screen, trying to do the same thing that he's doing. That's just not going to happen. It's just not realistic. That is the best version of himself that I'm trying to chase. That's somebody who took 5, 10 takes to get that video right and to get the angle perfect and the lighting perfect and all of that before he put it out there for public consumption, so that I could look at it and try and learn from it. But I'm never going to be that guy. I can't. And in other words, I want my kids to understand that too. You're not going to be Charli D'Amelio. But I want you to work on you. I want you to be the best Zoe that you can be. And that could be treating people with respect. It could be doing your best in the classroom. It could be helping other people, doing something that you're being asked to do without being asked to do it, right? Simple stuff. Just being the best version of you in the real world, as opposed to trying to chase or trying to be the best version of somebody else in the digital world. So it's almost a challenge to my kids that my wife and I have laid out, right, for them. And it's a constant reminder as they become more inundated with all this content, all this messaging. I mean, we certainly kind of opened Pandora's box when they got their cell phones and when they started implementing technology. And with the pandemic, technology was vital for their learning instruction and turning in homework and sharing and things like that. And I certainly feel that it's incredibly important to know about this stuff, but I also know that it's a slippery slope and that we can fall off the rails really quickly when it comes to social media and what these kids are learning and what they're picking up. And so we try and keep a very watchful eye at that content. I got to be able to follow them. They cannot block dad, okay, or mom. So we try and be as careful as we can. We know that some stuff might slip through the cracks. So being better than good, following that first rule of happiness, applies to everything that these kids do. And I want to really make sure that in this book and in these classrooms and now in this online environment, as we go through the book, we're going to really pick up on the fact that the base for everything, for all these rules to kind of work, and as we talk through them in future videos and provide more examples, it all is really predicated on that first rule: always be better than good. Now, the second kind of part to that now these days, as kind of an update, right? This was written in 2018, but what I've kind of tried to have done since the pandemic is to focus on the word better. So a lot of the focus was on the word good itself and we gave it a grade. But now when we look at the word better, well, what's better than better? And I think it's greater. So you'll hear greater than good. You'll see greater than good, the hashtag, you'll see clothing. I mean, you'll see different things as it pertains to, or branding as it pertains to greater than good. It's taking it to the next level. And that now is the current challenge for people who've read the book, for students and parents who have seen the presentation before. The challenge now has to be taken to that next level. And it's, how do we become greater than good? Because I think right now, more than at any time in our history, maybe, okay, maybe, somebody's gonna argue that, but in this current environment that we find ourselves right now, it's so important to be greater than good in everything that we do. But more importantly, we've got to be greater than good to each other. And if we can teach our kids that, to be greater than good in everything that we do, but more importantly, to each other, those other two rules really do fall into place. Okay, that's today's video. That's this edition's video on the greater than good and on this channel. In the next video, I'm really excited. So a little teaser for you. And speaking of taking it to the next level, we're going to talk to an educator who has really taken it to the next level. She's taken this book and she has created really good curriculum around it in the form of a STEAM summer camp. She's launched that summer camp. She's done it for the last several years now, which is tremendous. And now she's going to start presenting it at scale, at a different level, at the state level. So she's going to talk to us all about the activities around this STEAM camp and the mentor program that she's creating around it. So I'm really excited. It's always really cool to see how people have interpreted your words and your work. But taking it to this level is just blowing me away. It really is. So I can't wait to share that and have a talk with her and share that with everybody. So until the next video, thanks so much. I appreciate the support, and I will see you in that next video.